I've ventured outside for just a moment because there is something happening in our garden that we are very, very excited about and wanted to show you. And in just a moment, I'm going to introduce you to some mud. At this point, you may be tempted to stop this video, but at the risk of sounding like a certain supermarket advert, this is no ordinary patch of mud. This is some soil that maybe a week and a half to 2 weeks ago, Steph sowed a load of grass seed into, and from that point we've been waiting, we've been watering, we've been watching, and we've been wondering how long is it going to take for this grass to come through? Is any of it going to come through at all? And so the reason we're outside and the reason we're excited is because we wanted to show you that over the last few days, if you can see that, forgive my camera work, but we have the emergence of some grass. Now, I'm not expecting you to be as excited as we are about it. We know there's still a long way to go. We're definitely not thinking about getting the lawnmower out yet, but it's coming through. And say even up to a few days ago, we were still wondering and waiting and watching. And then about 2 or 3 days ago, I think it was, we saw the first shoots of grass breaking through that soil. And as soon as we saw those first few little shoots breaking through, gave us that sense of relief, and we thought, okay, now we know that the rest is soon going to follow. And as I've been thinking on that over the last few days, I've been reminded of the Apostle Paul's words to the Corinthian church when he speaks about Jesus as being the first fruits. Now, the first fruits is an agricultural term for the first sample or first emergence of a crop or a harvest. And when you saw the first fruits come through, you knew that the rest of the crop was soon to follow. It was sort of a guarantee. There was a confidence that came where you knew that the rest was soon to follow on because you'd seen the first fruits breaking through. Now, when Paul was speaking about Jesus as the first fruits, that was very much rooted in the, excuse the pun, it was very much rooted in the events of Jesus' death, as he was crucified on a cross and then his body laid in a tomb. But on the third day, God raised him from the dead, raised him into resurrection life. And so for those who have believed on Jesus through those events, there is forgiveness of sins, but there is also a promise. There is also a hope of resurrection life in that what happened to Jesus will also happen to you. Now, we can hope in many things. I think it would be fair to say that all of us hope in something, if not a few things, and we can hope in maybe some things less important or less significant. We might hope that our favourite team might win the sporting championship that they're in, or we can have little hopes like that, or maybe we have other hopes. Maybe we could hope that some people might hope that if they do the lottery, they might have hope that they win the lottery, or we can have hopes in other really significant places and put our hope in certain things. We could hope for peace, we could hope for good health, we could hope for certain relationships, whatever it may be. But actually, we can find that we put our hope in things that are not guaranteed, that are not certain. We can put our hope in things that are finite, that have a limit to them. And the reason I'm talking about hope is because when Paul speaks about Jesus as the first fruits, it's in the context of hope. In these verses in 1 Corinthians 15, Paul says this, he says, "If in Christ we have hope in this life only, we are of all people most to be pitied. But in fact, Christ has been raised from the dead, the first fruits of those who have fallen asleep." So there is hope that we can have that is not just for this life. We have hope that is not that is not uncertain. We can have hope that is not limited or finite in any way. We have hope not just for this life, but we have hope in Jesus, because he was raised from the dead. That is true of us. What happened to Jesus will happen to us. He is the first fruits, that guarantee. Now, if you're not yet following Jesus, and I'm speaking about hope, and you're thinking, actually, I want to know more about this, would really encourage you, if you know someone who is a follower of Jesus, to ask them to explain to you about hope, that we have in Jesus. And or please do get in touch with us. Use the contact us page on our website and let us know. We'd love to spend some time chatting that through with you. But if you are a follower of Jesus, we would like to invite you to, at this time, if you want to, as households, to break bread together. And as you do so, Jesus, we were speaking about remembrance, thinking about remembrance last week. And when we were thinking about the importance of remembrance. And when Jesus broke bread with his disciples, he said to do this in remembrance of me. As we take the bread and as we drink the wine, we remember his body broken, his blood poured out for us. The forgiveness of sins that is available because of what Jesus has done for us. But there's also opportunity for us to look forward with hope, to celebrate the hope that we have in Jesus, our first fruits, that what happened to him will happen to us also.